All right, all right. A little technical difficulty right there. We are, hopefully, we are live at this point. Brian and myself, Kevin's down in Mexico partying it up, but that's all good. This week, Brian, how you doing this evening?
Jay, I'm good. I'm just glad we're on live or seen to be rather than Memorex, like the old commercial used to say.
Some difficulties on my end. It looks like internet jumped down, screens bouncing around on me, all that kind of good stuff. We'll try to we got a good game tonight with the Bills going over to New England. We got some, man, we got a lot of news to get this next half hour, 45 minutes that we go. What's the biggest thing you week that you want to get in?
Definitely a lot of injuries on the injury front there with Darnell Mooney, Allen Robinson. That's the big news. But I guess the biggest news they've been talking about since week one has to be Deshaun Watson. And I saw a little blip that maybe you can fill me in on Antonio Brown if you want to.
Yeah, I threw the Antonio Brown thing out there because evidently he's in a standoff right now. Evidently he's got a warrant out for his arrest or for some kind of domestic violence. Sounds like it's a misdemeanor, but he's in a standoff in a house it sounds like he's down in Tampa. So, don't know much more than that on that issue. But yeah, let's talk about Deshaun Watson. Are you starting in any of your leagues? Are you able to start him in any of your leagues? Comfortable with that?
Yeah, I mean, being honest with you, I'm in a league where Kyler Murray would be my primary starter. He's on bye. I've also got Pickett on my bench, but in a choice between, and I think in a similar tier, I'm starting Watson over Pickett, at least at this point in time. We'll see come Sunday morning. I might not be so slap happy come Sunday morning, but for now, I'm starting him, and I've got him in another league, more of a dynasty league, and my options, I probably won't start him. I've got Geno Smith in that league as my QB2, so I'm probably not starting him. I think it just depends on who your options are, and sometimes you might just have to roll for it. At least the implied total in that game expects the Browns to score right around 27 points, so they're going to get points from somewhere, and he can also get some from the rushing game. So,
Right on, right on. Yeah, I was watching the armchair with the big boss Jeff and Ryan, and asked the question, and I thought it was, you know, it's pretty relevant question, especially seeing as Watson is coming back, with everything else. Would you start Watson over Brady?
yeah, I mean, I could.
Okay.
I don't love either option, to be
I mean,
perfectly honest with you. Brady's
right.
not completely lit the world on fire himself. And the one thing he's not going to give you is any rushing yards or touchdowns. So, yeah, I mean, I'd probably make it a coin flip at least. How about
Right
yourself?
on, right on. Yeah, so no, I don't know, man. I don't feel comfortable starting Watson at this point after 2 years, basically 2 years of not playing football, any meaningful football anyway. Yeah, I mean, it would be hard for me to start him anywhere. You know what I mean? It's just one of those. I don't think I can do it. I don't think I can do it. I think in one league I have to, but it's still going to be hard. It's going to be hard. But
It'll be
so
it'll be very
what's going
difficult,
on,
but
Josh Walker? We try to get yeah. We tried to get Josh on tonight. With the technical difficulties, he said, "The heck with y'all. I'm out of here. I'll see y'all in the chat." we do appreciate him trying to get on with us tonight. So okay, real quick, last question on Deshaun Watson. What does it do for like the Amari Coopers, the DPJs, even the Nick Chubbs? What does it do for their value in even rest of the season and even going forward?
I think you give a slight bump to Cooper. I think you could also give a slight bump to Njoku. And I don't think it really affects Chubb's value too much unless you expect Watson to score some short touchdowns on the ground, and then you'd have a negative impact. The one thing we all know is that Chubb's not involved in the passing game anyway. So the only way it
Right.
could, to me, it's either going to be a lateral effect or slightly negative to Chubb if he loses out on some goal line touches.
All right, well then I've got a few on with you. I'm probably going to skip over a few of the things tonight since the technical difficulties on my end. But real quick, Mike White experiment in New York seems to be going well to start with. I don't know that I trust that we saw this last year in week 8, almost the exact same numbers, and then over the next 2 weeks, 1 touchdown, 4 picks. I don't know if I want to trust it yet. What do you think about the Mike White experiment? And then go ahead and elaborate on Zonovan Knight, Elijah Moore, Garrett Wilson go with Mike White as the quarterback instead of the MILF Hunter himself.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you in regards to it's a wait and see kind of approach. But in all honesty, in week 13 of the NFL and fantasy season, you don't have that much opportunity to wait. So my question would be somewhere along the lines: if I picked him up in Scott Fishbowl, I've got an option of probably either him or Kenny Pickett or maybe Andy Dalton. And out of those 3, I may be leaning Mike White. And how it affects the other players, I mean, let's be honest. You aren't getting anything from Zach Wilson. And Garrett Wilson seemed to really attach to where he just loved Mike. So maybe it's a thing. But I looked at the stats of last year. I remember the experiment went well for 1 week. I did not remember 5 touchdowns to 8 interceptions on the season. So so that's still something to be. But I mean, there is upside there for sure.
Well, and you got to remember, I mean, this he does have a better team going in this year, compared to what he had last year. Got a better offensive line, that sort of thing. So, I mean, we could definitely see something, bigger and better for Mike White over the next couple of weeks. But I kind of feel the same way about him as I do Watson right now, and I want to just kind of wait and see. I want to wait and see. I don't want to be overreactionary when it comes to some of these quarterbacks. But so anyway, let's get into some of the stuff we got to talk. We got a hell of a game tonight. Buffalo Bills going over to New England, gonna visit Bill Belichick himself. Matt, we got Jacoby Myers, we got Damian Harris. They look like they're gonna be out. Or I'm sorry, Damian Harris is gonna be out. Looks like Jacoby Myers is active. The big question I have for you is there anybody in tonight's game that you are like 100% sitting? And then is there anybody that you are definitely playing?
Well, I mean, you've obviously got to play your big guys. I mean, you'll never sit Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, probably from the Patriots, or Madre Stevenson's one I think you have to throw in there. Although a little later when we get to the Chrome Dome Special of the Week, I don't necessarily think Ramadre gets it done on the rushing side of things, but he's also been receiving well. In terms of other players, I think Singletary's a slight bump down, but still could be started as a flex. Last week, you had what's his name, the wide receiver for the Bills, McKenzie. That I could see him starting him as a surprise flex. And you've almost always gotten to the point where Gabe Davis has to start for you. He's hit or miss anyway, but it's a tough matchup. But I do not love the Patriots receivers, including Jacoby Myers this week, nor Mac Jones. I just don't see the volume of passing being as high as it was last week.
Yeah, the one thing I will say, I was watching the Matt Donnelly in the Dynasty Vipers the other day, and something that I did not realize was how good this Patriots defense, at least on paper and by the numbers, is. I mean, they're in NFL sacks at 37. They have the sack leader on their team. He's sitting at 15, if I'm not mistaken. The defensive end there. They're fourth. They allow the fourth lowest points to quarterbacks at 11.19. I mean, they've already got 12 interceptions. That's fourth. So this Patriots D is solid. So I'm with you on the Stevenson. I don't know if we're going to see the Josh Allen, run game as much, but I think we're not going to see the Stevenson run game as much either. That they just seem too solid for me. On the defense, on the Bill side of the ball, Von Miller is gone to the IR. How does that affect the Patriots passing game, short passing game, or even the Ramondre rushing? I know Damian Harris is going to be there. So Mac Jones, McCorkle is definitely not a Josh Allen style runner, but he can move around a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you lose the player of the capacity of Von Miller, it always helps the opposing offense to some degree. I still think they'll struggle to run. And I don't know. I mean, we'll give our score later. I expect a pretty competitive, decent scoring game, which will go over the total. But theoretically, I don't know necessarily that anybody just goes off. I think it's just going to be a well-rounded game and competitive game. So,
right on, Ron. No, well, let's go over some of these injuries that we have had in the rest. You got Darnell Mooney, Allen Robinson, Kyle Pitts, all gone to the IR. Looks like Mike Williams didn't practice. Did he practice today? Because he didn't practice.
No, Mike
Wednesday.
Williams is going to be out this week.
Play.
Pretty much a 80% chance.
Okay. All right. We also had N. Gibson miss practice today. Looks like Gallup missed practice today. Rex Burkhead, he's going to be out from what I'm hearing. Stafford also going to be out. Njoku, we were just talking about him a minute ago. They're going to Houston, and with it being Deshaun Watson's return, he hasn't practiced all week. Are you worried there?
Yeah, you definitely got to be worried at this point in time. Obviously you got to check your practice reports tomorrow, but I do not like a player that's already missed consecutive practices. So, yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on, both tomorrow's practice reports and also, of course, the inactives on Sunday. And from memory, I think it's a 12 o'clock Central game. So at least you have an opportunity to switch to another option if need be.
Mm-hmm. Right on. Yeah, Najee Harris, he didn't practice yesterday. They're expecting him to play. I did see that Warren is expected to also play. A heavy workload as well. The Christian McCaffrey, he did not, but he is expected. Jerry Jeudy out. Looks like he's, didn't practice. Looks like he's going to be closer to a game time decision. Kadarius Toney, Aaron Rodgers has said that he's going to play. We shall see. I think that's something we didn't touch on earlier, but and I don't want to be on it for too long, but man, Jordan Love looked like a pretty damn good quarterback there. I mean, we only threw a couple times, but he did have the one, and it was a short pass that Watson decided he was going to take downfield. But he didn't look horrible. He made some good decisions.
He looked legit, to be honest with you. And they were saying during that game that that was a Sunday night game, I believe. They were saying during that game that Rodgers had said during spring practice and camp and all that it was the best that he had looked his entire 4 years there in the league. So eventually, he's 25 years old. He's going to get his shot. And not to be a Rodgers hater, but at what point in time do you just sit him down? You're 4-8. You don't know where his mind is. He's a heck of a competitor, but at the same time, Jordan Love should get some time at some point in time the rest of the season. So why not would be my question. Obviously, Rodgers, even if he plays, is totally beat up. So.
Yeah, I could see them making that move. I don't know how quick they'll make it, but I could see them making the move. I think it depends on how these next couple games go. I think it depends on how Aaron Rodgers' ribs hold up, or whatever it was that he hurt the other night. If it was his ribs or abdomen, whatever, he hurt that the other night. He takes one good hit there. You may see Jordan Love a lot sooner than we expect. I do know that one of our good friends is praying for the Jordan Love experiment to start over there. Zach Pulowski is a big Green Bay fan, and he's ready for Jordan Love experiment to start. So we shall see what's going to happen there. Michael Carter did not practice Wednesday. Looks like Zonovan Knight looks to have a big role coming in. We'll see what's going to happen there in New York. He's got a pretty dang good matchup too, if I'm not mistaken. Jamar Chase was limited. Something I wanted to bring up about him is he came out the other day and said he could have played on Sunday. They decided to hold him out, so I fully expect him to play. Dallas Goedert looks to be returning week 15. That'll be his first available week off the IR. Raheem Mostert was limited in practice. Romeo Doubs looks to be returning this week, giving Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love some more weapons on the outside there. Jaylen Warren cleared to play, like I said a minute ago. And last but not least, Joe Mixon is expected to return. The Cincinnati Bengals, a good bit of at least another threat out of that backfield. So any of those things that I just hit on that you wanted to elaborate a little bit more on?
Yeah, I want to elaborate on the Bengals situation. Both Mixon and Chase were limited in practice today. I fully expect both of them to play. We'll see in regards to full snap percentages, but I would not be surprised. They're getting back in the race, and I know they wanted to be competitive and have a chance their best chance to win against the Chiefs. So I'm expecting they're going to handle as much of the workload as they can. And, like you said, Chase almost played last week. Mixon was a concussion. So, if he's outside that concussion protocol, which he should be, if he's practicing, even in a limited capacity, I don't see any reason why he shouldn't work in full. So if you got your Bengals and your Chiefs, load up on them.
Hey, there's the boss checking in on us. I messaged him and told him I was having technical difficulties, and so at least he's checking on us, making sure we're all good. So we appreciate that. Hey, I want to get to this when Jamie's got up here. Let's see what the thought is on this. That's a start. If it'll come over here, there we go. Start two of these guys. Let's see what you have for Jamie here. Come on there. There it is. Start two. Myers, McKenzie, Campbell, or Duvernay. Start two of those. Who are you starting?
Myers, McKenzie, and who are the last two?
Campbell or Duvernay.
Okay. The only sure thing I've got is Campbell. The only sure sit I've got is Duvernay.
Okay,
so it comes down to
he
Myers.
Says
I think
he says he also has
McKenzie.
Diggs in the lineup. Okay, so
has Diggs in the lineup.
What he's saying is he's got Diggs. So he hesitant about starting. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I'm not the biggest Paris Campbell fan, so I don't know that I Paris Campbell, but yeah, I guess I would start McKenzie and Campbell over that option. Myers, Josh Walker's piping in saying Campbell's.
Myers,
you know what? Yeah. Josh,
game.
You're right. I would be doing Myers. Yeah.
Myers could have a pretty good game. He's been limited in practice all week, and it was a 50-50 going into today's game. So I understand the hesitancy with McKenzie and Diggs being in there together, but at the same time, you can always funnel that passing game and hope that Gabe Davis doesn't go off. So you take your shots sometimes.
Right. Yep. I agree with that. I agree with Josh right here. He's saying Myers and Campbell. I think I'm going to go ahead and take the chance on Myers. He's done it all year long. So I would probably go that route. So let's move on to the next segment here. Probably one of the favorite segments that we have come up with. At least you and I agree that Brian Devin may not like this segment too much, but we do. We got a stock up, stock down for this past week. I'm gonna go ahead and let you lead it off here. What do you got for stock up?
Well, I'll just say this. Most of my weekends are spent watching the Red Zone. But the last couple of weeks, I've been at my mom's house. She's got Alzheimer's, so we've been spending the weekends here. Haven't had access to Red Zone. Turned out that the Ravens Jaguars game started 20 minutes later, so we got special coverage of the Jaguars, and I saw the very impressive comeback by Trevor Lawrence in that game. And so my stock up this week is Trevor Lawrence. Over the last 3 weeks, he's completed 77 or 78% of his passes for 6 touchdowns, well over 800 yards. So he's been just really, really good. And he's starting for the year, he's 16 touchdowns to 6 interceptions. So he's starting to live up to that pre-rookie hype that he had. So he's my stock up for today.
Right on. Well, I am I put 2 of them on. Big reason why is the obvious choice. I like White, but everybody slow down. I don't want him to go spend all fast and chase what could turn out to be what it was last year. Pump the brakes a little bit. Let's let him do it, and let's let him do it twice. And let's make sure that's what he's gonna be. What we saw last week. My true stock up, and I'm probably a wait on this, but it is Rachaad White. Man, Rush last week 9 for 9 in receiving game. We've seen his snap share just continually rise. And yeah, I know Leonard Fournette was injured last week, so didn't play. I know he's been practicing, but again, it's Leonard Fournette. We could honestly see the Bucs. If Rachaad White does play out the way that he played last week, we could see the Bucs go, okay, playoff Lenny, we'll see you in the playoffs. We could very well see this turn into like the Dallas Cowboys backfield with Zeke and Pollard, that kind of sharing of the backfield. So give me stock up. The last thing I wanted to make on that was the Bucs are averaging about 70 yards a game on the ground. 2 or 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, when the Bucs were in Germany, that was the first and only 100-yard rushing game for the Bucs, and it was done by Rachaad White. Lenny was on the field that game, so this dude is going to be something special. So my stock up this week is going to be the one and only Tampa Bay Buccaneers Rachaad White.
I'm totally on board with you. I actually put him in my waiver column as my waiver pickup. I think it was last week. Like you said, we didn't have a show. It was Thanksgiving, so you didn't have an opportunity to be a week late, a week on time. So it's okay. But
that is true. I forgot about that.
Is maybe a 50% split of the rushes and White getting more passing work than Fournette.
Yeah, I mean, I was super impressed when I looked at I watched the game and just did not realize that he, first of all, that he got that many targets, but second of all, that he caught everything that was thrown to him. So that was nice to see. Let's get over here to the stock down. Definitely. And Tom Brady himself. So let's get over here to the stock down. Man, and this was a hard one for me because I really like this kid. Man, Darnell Mooney. I mean, we got to say stock down on Darnell Mooney. I know he's injured, so it's, kind of low-hanging fruit. But, I mean, this offense for the Bears was getting rolling. They were just getting their feet. They got Claypool in the mix. Still don't know if Fields is going to be back or not. But even if he is, or even if he isn't, they're not getting any time now with him and Claypool on the field along, with Kmet. So stock down for me with Darnell Mooney. I'm not, in Dynasty, I'm not ready to sell off on him, but there's no way I can, even if injured for the year, I don't know that, if he was out for 3-4 weeks, I don't know that I can bring him back into the starting lineup this year. Thankfully, he's going to be, he's done for the year. So just sucks because I really like that kid.
Yeah. But you make a great point. In one of the leagues that I'm in, Dynasty, somebody actually dropped him. And please don't make that
Mhm.
mistake. I mean, I didn't have enough fab to pick him up. I put in a waiver bid for him, and he went for like $60 or something like that. And please don't drop him. I mean, if you're playing Dynasty, you're not playing for the last 5 weeks of this season. You're playing long term. So please don't do that.
Yeah, the only argument against that for me would be, with all the injuries we've had this year, well, unfortunate, the Cooper Cups, those types of injuries that are season long injuries, you know, depending on the depth on, in the roster there, if you only have 3, 4, IR spots, and you're not able to carry a ton, you may have to. But again, I don't know what that is, but that's still that would be a hard pill to swallow. I'd have to, I would, I guess in Dynasty, I would have to try to trade him first. Even if I was getting, quarters on the dollar, I would
Yeah,
rather get something back for him than nothing. And that's what you're getting back if you drop him, of course. So
exactly. Yeah, I mean, something's better
let's get
than
a stock down.
nothing.
I Yeah, I don't like your stock down. Because probably because it's probably truthful, but it's hurting feelings right here.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I'll be honest with you. So my stock down, I took him out of the lineup, put him back in. And, I'm on the fence. I don't blame you not loving my stock down. But the last couple of weeks, he's just not been good. Damian Pierce for the Texans. He's 15 carries, 16 yards over the last 2 weeks. And this is not from a dynasty perspective. This is more from a redraft from my end. I can't trust him if I'm heading into the fantasy playoffs. I don't know how much I can trust him as a top, definitely not an RB1 top 12 kind of guy to me anymore. Yeah, he could still be in there as a top 24 back, but you just got to be a little wary about him. Is he hitting a wall? It's hard to say. And I know you're a Florida guy. We weren't on the show when Vanderbilt beat them, but it's a great opportunity to bring that up anyway. But that's my perspective on it. So
I've got a knife around here somewhere. I've got knives around here somewhere for you. Thanks for getting that dig in. Well, the only thing I'm going to say on Damian Pierce, again, he's a rookie. I don't know rookie ball. I don't know if that's the case in this instance. I mean, he went up against Washington. Washington is one hell of a defense, especially against the run. So, I mean, it could be a combination of a couple things. But in the landscape that we're sitting in, I don't blame you for putting Damian Pierce because he was so dynamic the first 9 games, 7, 8, 9 games that when he did this the last 2 weeks, everybody flipped out. Everybody flipped out that he was the starter to start the year. Then he was so great, and now they're flipping out because now he's really sucks. He sucks so bad, dude. I mean, everybody does it. But yeah, so I don't like this because I am a Florida fan and I do like Damian Pierce, but at the same time, I'll be the first one to tell you I sold Damian Pierce 3 weeks ago for Najee Harris and a second round pick in 23. So I think
you
I
got
think
a
I
steal on that one.
if I didn't win the deal, yeah, I think that was selling Damian Pierce. I didn't like doing that either, but anyway, we got about 10 minutes left. Let's get down here to these who wins tonight. I know I didn't, Josh was come on with us tonight with the technical difficulties. He's not being able to. He did put his stock down in. I'm just going to run through his real stock up. He had Nick Chubb on there. Basically, after 2 weeks of finishing outside of RB1, he redeemed himself in that stout Tampa Bay defense last week, and that's very, very true. He also had Wilson. As long as Wilson isn't the quarterback, there's true statements all around right there. As far as his stock down, he put DeAndre Swift on here. Not sure if it's the injury concerns or just coaching. But Williams getting almost all of the goal line work, 8 targets. I will say this. DeAndre Swift is if you watched it, I want to say it was Thanksgiving. That game, I think he was running the ball or the ball right line, and they had all hit him in that run, and he still got into the end zone. So I don't, I'm not saying it's a toughness. I don't think I think they're being overly cautious with him. And then they find out that Jamal Williams is a dude. And why do you want to hurt what could be the franchise? It's still a running back. I know this is what his third year, so it's coming up soon. They got to make a decision on him. But you've got a not necessarily a bell cow, but you've got a dude that is damn good at running back in Williams. So that could be a combination of a couple of different things. So let's get back to tonight's game. Go ahead.
Quick comment on Swift. If you've got him, he's a dynasty hold. Williams is 28 years old. Swift, like you said, I think for whatever reason, they've always been overly cautious about him. I still don't know what his ceiling is in regards to workload, but at the same time, I can't trade him at peanuts to the penny or whatever. So, I can't do that. I don't know that I'm out actively buying him if I don't have him, but at the same time, I can't just get rid of him. So.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not out there actively buying at the same price that I would be out there actively selling, if that makes sense. I'm not going to give him away for free, but I'm not going to buy him for what I want to sell him for, if that makes any sense at all.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's get into let's get into tonight's game. Who's winning tonight? Who's winning tonight there, Brian? Who's winning?
It's definitely, to me, it's definitely the Bills. I've got them at 27-20. I expect, like I said, the game's going to be over the total, and I feel the Bills will cover the spread. And I forget who it was that commented earlier on Twitter, but they were like, "Go Bills!" Yeah, it's go Bill time for sure. So.
Yeah, that would have been Alex on the post that I made. Yeah, that would have been Alex. Well, quick question for you, because that's one thing I did not look at. What's the over under on the game tonight?
I want to say it was 44.5 or something like that from memory. Okay. Unfortunately, I'd have to look it up, but I know my total was just slightly over. So.
Right on. And so in that case, I guess I was taking the under. Josh also took the Bills 24-23. So he would, if it was 46, he's taking the over as well, barely. And that's an interesting score right there, 24-20. That means we're going to have one hell of a game on a Thursday night, which is usually not a thing for us. Usually we get off the air and we're like, okay, well, what do we do now? Because we're not watching this crappy game. So tonight it looks like it's going to be a pretty good game. Exciting game. So hopefully we'll see what's going to happen. I'm also on the Bills. I don't think it's going to hit that 46 number though. I took the Bills 24-16. I do see a couple touchdowns, but I see a couple field goals, and I also see a couple, even possibly some missed field goals with what looks to be a little windy conditions. We could very well see, not to the extreme that we saw it last year, but we could very well see similar game plan as we did the snow and windy day that we saw at Buffalo last year, where McCorkle decided he was only going to be allowed to throw 3 times. So,
yeah.
All right, Brian, your favorite part of the night. Yeah. Brian's favorite part of the night. And I hate that Megan's not around, because this is something that one of our listeners decided, came up with, shot us a chat. And then Brian said, you know what, we're going to name it the Chrome Dome Parlay of the Night. So what I'll do here is I'm going to go ahead and read off what Josh has, and then I'll read off mine, and then I'll let Brian, because Brian has a laundry list on his. So
I do have one question for
Josh
you.
went over. All right.
I could not find a total or a number for Stephon Diggs receiving. Did you have that by chance?
All right, let's see. I am looking on Underdog as we speak right now. So Stephon Diggs right now is 85.5 receiving yards and 6.5 receptions.
Okay. All right.
So
I'll let you go ahead with your alls then.
right on, right on. Yeah, Josh messaged me and he was like, "Hey, what site do y'all use? Whatever." And I told him, I said, "I don't know. You know, as long as you let us say it with him." I'm looking at his and I'm looking at it thinking, okay, this is definitely underdog that he went off of. So he took Diggs over 6.5 receptions. He took Stevenson over 39.5 passing yards. And this one is interesting to me because I looked at this number and then I almost took it, but then I looked at the weather. He took Tyler Bass over 1.5 field goals made. So I think that's going to be the question mark I have of that particular parlay. But I like all those. I like the 6.5 or over 6.5 for Diggs. I like the over 39.5 pass yards for Stevens. But any thoughts on what Josh had there on his parlay?
My favorite out of those is Stevenson over 39.5 receiving yards. Like I said earlier, I think that he'll be more involved theoretically in the receiving game than he will be in the rushing part of the game. So I like that one as best.
Right on.
And I'm like
right
you.
On. Right on.
Field goals are a little tricky in this weather, so we'll see.
Yeah, and the other side of that coin is this is going for 2. Please, come on, Josh. We don't do kickers here. Yeah, mine's like this. Mine sit like this. I also have a Stevenson prop. I'm going over half rushing or receiving touchdown for Ramondre Stevenson. So I really like that. All he's got to do is get in the end zone. So basically, it turns out to be an anytime touchdown for him, from as far as I look at it.
Yeah.
I also have Myers. Yeah, I took Myers over 4 receptions. And again, this is on underdog. And then here's my tricky one. I kind of took a little gamble on this. I went back and looked at the numbers. James Cook, when they use him, he's had games of 80 yards. He's had games of 4 yards. He had two rushes last week for 4 yards. So I took the under on 15.5 yards rushing. I know that's going to be, if I don't get this prop, I probably hit 2 out of 3, and that would be the one I don't hit. Man, I don't see them. I don't see this as a rushing game against this New England defense. Like I said earlier, I mean they are fourth or fifth in defense overall. I think it is. I just don't see a lot of rushing upside for the Bills in this game. What say?
So my favorite of that is definitely, like you said, the anytime touchdown for Stevenson. I don't like that number on Jacoby Myers. I wish we had the half, 4.5, or 3.5, as opposed to a solid 4. You have to, obviously, to be over 4, you have to have 5 or more. So I don't love that because he's been questionable all week. So that's kind of my perspective on those.
Yeah, my only thought on the Jacoby Myers 4 was he could have that in the first half. He could have it in the because other than Hunter Henry, other than Jonnu Smith, if he throw on the ball too, Yeah, I mean, I get Ramondre Stevenson, but on the field. But yeah, I agree with you there. That was kind of an iffy one. I took the chance on that, but I think with the Buffalo's secondary, I kind of feel a little bit more comfortable with 5 receptions for Jacoby. And like I said, I think he could have that actually in the first quarter. Hell help. And then again, if we have a game like we did last year, they won't even throw the ball that many times. So it's
exactly. So
what are you looking at for your Chrome Dome tonight?
Those are just my perspectives. So that's kind of where I'm at.
What do you got for yours?
Well, you'll have to help me remember this. So I've got Josh Allen under passing yards. But what was the total on that again? 262 or something.
Well, you have 268. Did you go off of underdog?
I went off of
268
DraftKings.
is what you have on there. And okay, well, on underdog, see, and you would like the number better on underdog right now is 266.5.
Yeah, either way, I'm going under. Ever since he had that injury a couple of weeks ago, he's not been as involved in the passing game, and he's actually has not met that number that's applied in 4 out of his last 5. So I'm going to continue the trend and say under for Josh Allen. But unlike you a little bit, I see a rushing game for Josh Allen, but not for any other running back. So I agree totally with you on James Cook, but I would also be in the same boat with you on any other running back not named Josh Allen. But I went over the total of 44.5, I believe it was, rushing yards for Josh Allen.
I like those. I mean, out of the picks, I could not sit here and tell you there's one that I don't like. What I do like though is out of all three that we put together between the three. What's funny is we don't discuss these beforehand. We just throw them on the show sheet, and all three of us have a different. We all have Stevenson somewhere, but they're all different props. You know, you have his rushing yards. I have basically the anytime touchdown. Josh had the passing yards. So I think it's pretty to say that we are all on the Stevenson train.
Yeah, the only thing I had, and like I said, Stevenson to me is not going to be quite as involved in rushing. So I've got him rushing, I think, under 62.5 or something like that. But the number I would love to see, what would be his combined overall, what that over under was, because I really like his involvement in the passing game. And definitely the touchdown.
What we can find on Stevenson. Right now, okay, combined 102.5 rushing and receiving yards combined.
What was it again? I'm sorry.
For Stevenson, yeah. 102.5. 102.5.
That's a good number. I think he can hit that, don't you?
I think he can hit it, but he can also be at 101. And that's just going to piss you off. But
it is.
So
the one thing is the Patriots score.
Let's get to this quick. Go ahead.
The one thing is the Patriots score, you're pretty much guaranteed it's the Stevenson touchdown. It's the only thing I can say. So out of all of our picks, that's my most absolute favorite is anytime touchdown for Ramondre. So
awesome. Well, let's get to this question right here by Kyle. Kyle Sindra at Service. They're going for two family. Says, hey, Brian. Hey, Gator. Hey, Kyle. Kyle's got a question for us. In a salary contract league, after giving my 23 first and 23 fourth to get Dameon Pierce, I traded away Pierce, a 23 second, a 23 fifth for Ramondre. Did I overpay? All right, let me back this up for a second because I want to look at it like this. So you basically are giving a 23 first, a 23 second, a 23 fourth, a 23 fifth for Ramondre. Yeah, I think you overpaid a little bit. I'm not now. I don't play a lot of salary contract leagues either, but I mean, that's the way I'm reading up: a first, a second, a fourth, and a fifth, and Dameon Pierce, basically, because you gave up the first and second, or the first and fourth to get Pierce, and then fifth for Ramondre. Is that how you're reading that as well?
Well, it sounds like to me. I mean, the best I can break it down is he gave up Pierce and 2 picks for Ramondre, right? At the worst case scenario. And personally, I would have been willing to trade him. I don't think there's any difference in future value between those two. So I'd say yes, that's an overpay. Because I like Stevenson moving forward just as much as Pierce.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think the and here's the funny part though is Kyle's usually at Ingham's stuff. So I don't I can sit there and overpay all I want to, but again, it's a salary contract league, so I don't know a ton on but Kyle's usually pretty smart on that stuff. So I think it's face value, it's an overpay. Let's put it that way. Right? Face value, it's an overpay.
Face value.
Well, guys,
you're like me. I don't really do
that time of the night. We got right on. Well, it's about that time of the night. We've got about 5 minutes or so before kickoff, so we're gonna get the heck out of here. Brian, go ahead and tell the good peoples where they can find you, what you got working on, and let's get this thing rolling. Let's get some good football tonight. So go ahead, Brian.
Well, you can always find me at Vandergrad92 on Twitter. I do this show obviously on Thursday nights, but I've also got a couple of shows for frequency's sake. We have definitely the DFS Deep Dive hosting myself and Gladys, and then on Sundays we have the main show from 10 to 11:30, and that's just a great group of guys right there. So you can catch all my work on Vandergrad92, and we've always got constant content coming out. And then don't forget that on Monday night going into Tuesday morning, we've got a great waiver wire article, plus many, many other articles here going for two.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up as I was doing my little spiel too as well. Y'all make sure you're going over to the goingfor2.com. There's articles. There's all kinds of good information over there. And as bad as this sounds, is the market that we're in. We do it for free. It's free. We got the Discord. Come join us over in the Discord at Going for Two. If you want to get in there on Discord, go over to goingfor2.com. There's a little box down there. Click on the box for the Discord. It'll send you right on over. And we got some good analysts in there as well. Give us easy to talk to. So yeah, go check us out over there. I know Jeff did this thing for Black Friday where it's free for. So if you jump in over there, Going for Two on the Discord, it's free for life. You'll never pay. So enjoy that. You can find me on the Bluebird app at Fantasy J77. You can find me in the Discord. You'll find me Wednesday nights with the Fantasy Intervention. You will find me here on Thursdays with the Dynasty Gambit. Next week, Brian will be back. We're making him come back from all his Mai Tais and Coco Cabana shirts, and he's not going to be allowed to lay in the cabana or the hammock anymore. He's got to come home, got to get back to work. So with that said, for Brian, for me, for Going for Two and the Going for Two Live Network, thank y'all. Have a